Hello, hi, hope you are well and doing great. In this video, we are going to talk about two important topics of academic writing, of stylistics, and of linguistics, and those are cohesion and coherence. Other than those, we are going to talk about devices of cohesion and coherence as well. Okay, without wasting any time, let us move toward who was actually the originator of this concept and where actually this concept is used. Cohesion and coherence are terms used in text linguistics and academic writing to describe properties of text. We use these terms and there are number of sources, number of subterms that are used in these terms. All these are used to describe properties of text. These constituents of text were introduced by Halliday and Ruqayya Hassan in 1976. Other than this, as we know that Halliday classified linguistic system into three metafunctions. The first one is ideational, interpersonal, and textual. And cohesion and coherence belong to textual metafunction. They are part of third metafunction, and that is textual. And what is textual metafunction? Textual metafunction tells us or explains how do we convert ideational and interpersonal metafunction into a text, or you could say text is a speech or any written part. So how do we convert ideational and interpersonal metafunction into a text? This deals with textual metafunction. The purpose of these terms is to provide texture. What is texture? Texture means what makes the text unified as a whole. What makes a text as a single whole? How can we derive a single meaning after reading the whole text? Cohesion and coherence are one of the features tested in academic writing, including the IELTs test and TOEFL test. Okay, let us look into the definition of cohesion. The grammatical and lexical relationship between different elements of the text which hold it together is called cohesion. So there are different grammatical and lexical relationships between different elements of the text which hold the text together or which make it as a unified as a whole. That is called cohesion. It exists within a text. It gives texture to the text. To have cohesion, we didn't require some cohesive devices. And what are those cohesive devices? We have grammatical and lexical cohesion. Grammatical cohesion includes reference, substitution, and ellipsis. Lexical cohesion includes lexical items, and conjunction is at the borderline at the both grammatical and lexical cohesion. If you just look at this picture, then it would be easy for you to understand what do we have in grammatical cohesion. If you are going to search different websites, you would just see reference in grammatical cohesion, and in one of the site you would see substitution. But I have gathered all the data and from the books of Halliday, Hassan, and Matheson. And from there I have gathered this data, and now I think so it would be easy for you to understand. In reference, substitution, and ellipsis, these lie in grammatical cohesion. Conjunction is at the borderline between these two, and lexical items fall in lexical cohesion. Okay, starting with reference. What is reference? Reference explains the relationship between linguistic unit and the outside world. This is one of the definition that we basically use in semantics. We use one definition in semantics, and that is the relationship between the linguistic unit. For example, if I just say apple, so I have just used one word that is a sense of it in my mind, but in the outside word there must exist something like apple. So this is one reference definition. The second definition that is most appropriate for this topic of cohesion is it is the replacement of words and expressions with proforms. So what is a proform? You need to understand. In proform we can either have pronouns or we can either have modifiers as well. That is the words that are used to qualify a noun or a verb. There are two kinds of categories हम यहाँ पे reference में लेंगे, and first of all in the first category we have endophoric and exophoric reference. Endophoric reference is that refers something concrete and physically present. So exophoric would be opposite to it. You need to remember some clues or tricks, so it would be easy for you to understand. Endophoric refers to something concrete, physical, present. Reference signal to the reader what kind of information is to be retrieved from text. It is easy for the reader to retrieve the information, but in exophoric reference it is tough. We have a complete idea to whom we are referring, but in exophoric reference we do not have a complete idea. It is more related to meanings, and it is further divided into anaphoric and cataphoric reference. You might have already read about this, but we have to talk about it. What is anaphoric reference? Something that refers back in order to have meaning, and cataphoric that refers something ahead in the upcoming speech. This is called forward reference and this is called backward reference. You need to remember this because in the paper of stylistics or pragmatics, or you could say linguistics, we could either have anaphoric reference and cataphoric, or we could have backward references and forward references. They are mostly used in conversation. They're less. For example, the taxi driver was driving a car. He suddenly saw a truck coming. In order to have the meaning of this word we need to refer back. That is why they are called backward references. I almost stepped on it. Now there is a pronoun. In order to have meaning of this pronoun, we need to refer to the upcoming noun to which it is actually referring, and that is snake. So this is called forward reference and this is called backward reference. Why this is called backward reference? Because pronoun is referred back in the previous clause or in the previous sentence in order to have complete meaning, and over here we have to refer ahead. Now moving on to exophoric reference. As in endophoric reference we said that we refer to concrete physical things, but in exophoric reference we refer to generic or abstract things. When the meaning is not explicit from the type but is obvious to those in a particular situation. Oh yes, it's really important. In endophoric reference we actually know about which thing we are talking about. For example, the particular taxi driver or the particular snake. But in exophoric reference it is not clear to all the people who might be reading the text, but it would be clear who are actually present in that situation. For example, everyone enjoyed the movie a lot. For example, who are included in those every one of them? I hope someone. Who is that someone? So it would be clear to those people who are attached with that context, who are attached with that situation, but it would be tough for the person and any outsider. So here is above examples. We have no idea about whom we are referring to, so we can say that we are referring to an abstract entity. Second category of reference. In the first category we talked about endophoric and exophoric, and in the second category we have some other categories like personal reference, demonstrative reference, and comparative reference. What is personal reference? Personal reference in which you use any personal pronoun, or you could say we just use any pronoun. It is called that deals with any person. That is called personal reference. For example, they told me you by her car. Even you know that in reference we talked about pre-modifiers. So if we take about pre-modifiers, then we are also going to include her. Otherwise we are just going to restrict ourselves to they, me, and you. So when we use any person in order to refer to someone, that is called personal reference. Demonstrative reference. Demonstrate means in order to point out. When we point out something, that is called demonstrative reference. For example, this is my car, and the most common words used for demonstrative reference are this, that, these, those, here, there. So these are some of the demonstrative references. This is my apple. Come here, Tommy. Give me that plate. Okay, now one thing you have noticed, when something that is near to the speaker or near to the deictic center, for understanding these terms in detail, you need to watch my video on deixis, or you could pronounce it as deixis. But in this video, I have just reserved myself. Give me over here in this. This is my plate. Come here, Tommy. The deictic center of the speaker is near to the apple or near to Tommy. That is why they have used these words. Otherwise, when they are away from the speaker, then we use that, those, there. I think so it would be clear. Second category of reference in which the third one would be comparative reference, in which we use for comparison purposes or in order to show similarity and contrast. For example, we could use adjectives like same, identical, equal, and adjectives like comparative degrees like bigger, faster, and better, and adverbs like identically. Sorry, I have to use small bracket over here. Likewise, so and such. Furry runs faster than you. Now, Furry has been compared to a particular person who has been involved in a conversation. So we have used any comparative reference in order to compare the qualities and what is the quality of running, who is running fast. You both are looking quite identical. In order to find out how they are looking, we have used, you could have used quite different, but they have used quite identical. So these are called comparative references. Okay, moving on, the next category of that is involved in cohesion is substitution. Substitution means when we replace one item by another, it is simply called substitution. It is more related to grammar than meaning. It is different from reference as it takes the place of what is discussed. So in reference, you could say that we have substituted the verb, but over here it exactly takes the place of what we actually discusses. And there are three types of it, and we are going to use these types again and again. So you need to understand what is nominal. Basically, nominal deals with noun, or you could say nominal group, in which we have pre-modifiers like adjectives, articles, and after that we need to have a head word noun. Verbal substitution, in which we have the basic word or head word as verb, and clausal substitution, in which we have subject and predicate both. And in predicate we need to have one finite verb. You could watch my video on clauses in order to understand what is a clause and different types of clauses. And I think so then it would be easy for you to talk on any topic related to clauses. Okay, what is nominal substitution? It is a kind of substitution done through noun heads. When we substitute one noun with the other noun heads, that is called nominal. For example, let's go and see the beers. The polar ones are here. Over here we have replaced the beers with the ones. So we could use certain words in order to substitute the noun heads, or you could say nouns, with some other words. Verbal substitution, in which we substitute the verbal group and replaces with another verb. For example, the words did not come to the same as they used to do. The words did not come to the same as they used to do. Now it is actually referring to, for example, as they used to do or as they used to come. It is actually referring to all of this process. Pia is sewing a sweater. Eliza, you should also do the same. For example, sewing a sweater. Now Pia is sewing a sweater. Now this sewing a sweater is, there is any process involved in it, there is any action involved in it, and in the next sentence we have referred to this with another words by substituting it with do the same. Ali finally called on him. He wanted to do so. What he wanted to do so? He wanted to call him. So we have referred to finally called on him by substituting with some other words. Likewise, we could do clausal substitution, and clausal substitution it is used for either positive or negative expression. We use so for positive and not for negative. Is there going to be earthquake? It says so. So it means there is a chance. Has everyone gone home? I hope not. This is negative. This means somebody is still at the party. Ellipsis. Ellipsis means deletion of words or deletion of expression or phrases is called ellipsis. We often leave out words in order to avoid repetition. It may be simply called substitution by zero. When we drop certain words, it is called ellipses. I have used in figure of speech, might be I have already explained this. What is elision? This is used in comparison to ellipses or in reference to ellipses. Elision is when we drop sounds, but when we drop words, this is called ellipses. Okay, what is nominal ellipses, in which we are going to drop nouns, or you could say noun groups. Here are 13 cards. You could take any. Now you have dropped it in the conversation, but in the context it is we are aware that what we are referring to, it is we are sure that we are actually referring to cards. You can take any card, but we have dropped it. Now give me any three cards. Which hat will you wear? This is the best. We haven't said hat, but we have dropped it. But the other person knows that to which thing I'm referring. So you got to know that how we can bring newness, inventiveness, creativeness, our interest in our speech. For example, if we are just referring to one thing again and again, it would be monotonous. It is another stylistic device, but over here we have restricted to cohesion, and in ellipses we dropped certain words. And you have got to know about the type of nominal examples of nominal ellipses. Now moving on to verbal ellipses, in which we drop certain verbs. Have you been swimming? Yes, I have been swimming. Instead of saying I have been swimming, I would say yes, I have. Were you laughing? No, I wasn't. Clausal ellipses, in which we drop the whole clause in order to avoid repetition. And what are those? Here is an example. Who could have broken these tiles? I can't think who could have broken these tiles, but I have dropped the whole clause, and this clause has been dropped. Now moving on to fourth type, and that is at the borderline between grammatical cohesion and lexical cohesion, and that is conjunction. Conjunction is a word, a group of words that is used in order to combine two different words, clauses, phrases, or sentences. This is called conjunction. Conjunction is commonly called as joining word. Now here are certain, though the weather is harsh, they will still go to the party of their friends. Now over here I have used a dependent clause that is beginning with adverbial conjunction of concession. So now through this conjunction we have combined these two different clauses, and this is dependent and this is independent. I have already told you you could watch my video on clauses in order to understand them in detail. If we leave now, we can be home by 11 p.m. Now this again I have used one dependent conjunction of condition, adverbial conjunction of condition. Over here I have used these two conjunction in order to combine different clauses, but over here I have used just this conjunction in order to combine two different groups, two nouns or two nominal groups you could say. And over here again I have combined two different groups, neither and nor. No, these conjunctions are of different types. Let's look into the types of conjunction. The first one is coordinating, second one is correlative, and the third one is subordinating conjunction. What is coordinating conjunction? Coordinating conjunction is used to combine clauses, phrases of equal ranks. When we have clauses and phrases of equal rank, then we use coordinating conjunction, and most of the coordinating conjunction falls in this acronym. Coordinating conjunction fall in this acronym, and that is fanboys: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And some of its types are cumulative, adversative, disjunctive, and elative. In order to understand all these subtypes, you could watch my video conjunction, and I think so then it would be really easy for you to handle this topic. I stayed up all night, so I was tired the next day. She is editing and proofreading my essay. He is intelligent, but he is lazy. So you got to know that we use certain conjunctions in order to combine different words, phrases, and clauses. And when they are of equal ranks, then we use coordinating conjunction. Moving on to correlative conjunction, those that work in pairs are called correlative conjunctions, and they need to have parallel construction. For example, we have certain correlative, neither, nor, not only, but also. I not only passed the exam but also got 100%. So in order to highlight, I not only passed the exam but I also got 100%. So you need to give me some prize. So we use correlative conjunction that work in pairs, and we have to use them likewise, or we have to use them together. Subordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunction was used in order to combine word phrases of equal rank, but when we do not have words and phrases of equal rank, then we use subordinating conjunction in order to combine them. As dependent clause is combined with independent clause, then we use subordinate. And there are a number of subordinating conjunctions. In coordinating conjunction, I just refer to few of them, but over here we have number of them, and there are like cause, reason, result, purpose. Other than that, we have concession, condition, and all those are present in my video about conjunctions. Unless we give him a ride, he won't be able to come. Here is one. Here is some cash in your credit card doesn't work. So over here we have talked about the fourth type of cohesion, and that is conjunction. And after that we talked about some of the types of conjunction, and then we discussed some subtypes, but we haven't discussed them in detail. But for that, I will drop my link in the comment box so you could watch my video on conjunctions. After that we have lexical cohesion. So it is achieved through the structure of lexes and by the selection of vocabulary, that we select the vocabulary in a particular way in order to achieve lexical cohesion. And this is achieved by, you could use two basic devices of lexicon. That is reiteration, means that when we repeat certain words again and again and again, and instead of using the same word, we could use the general word of it, we could use the near synonym to it, or you could use a hypernym, a superordinate of that term. For example, there is a boy climbing that tree. The boy will fall if we will continue this. The boy will fall if we continue this. If he continues this, so if there is repetition of the word the boy, the lad will fall if he continues this. This is one. The child will fall if he continues this. The idiot will fall if he continues this. And so you got to know that we have used again the different words. This is a synonym, this is a superordinate, and this is a general word, decided on the base of context, or decided on the base of context that we have. So by choosing different words, we can bring newness and inventiveness in our text and can catch the attention of the listener. Other than this, there is an error in this sentence, and you can correct it because it is tough for me to correct right now. You need to drop this. The boy will fall if he continues this. If he continues this, the boy will fall if he continues this. Over here, if he continues this, the idiot will fall if he continues this. So you have to do this. Collocation. Collocation is very important device in corpus stylistics or corpus linguistics, and that deals with occurs through association, that what lexical items are common and they tend to occur together. We need to in particular context. For example, make a bed, to do homework. So these are some collocations. Coherence. The ways simply cohesion dealt with lexical and grammatical choices, and coherence deals with how a text makes sense to the readers and writers. And it is only possible through the configuration of concepts, ideas, and theories. Means what concepts, what ideas, and what theories are we presenting in our text? Are they properly linked? Are they making any sense to the reader? Or we are just uttering words and they do not understand? It requires what coherence requires. It requires semantic unity. It should make sense. It is more related to people. There should be appropriateness. We should not switch our topics. This is important. If we are switching in one line, we are talking about patriotism, and in another line we are talking about nationalism, and in another line we are talking about democracy, then dictatorship, then it's wrong. We do not need to switch the topics so suddenly. There should be regularity and text should be relatable. What are the requirements of coherence? As there were some sources of cohesion, and we talked about 5 sources. Likewise, we have requirements of coherence as well, and the first one is concept and the second one is relation. Concept, about the things about which we talk about, the ideas, the knowledge, the data about which we talk about. And relation deals with basically actually 2 things, and that is causality and time. Causality, in order to understand causality, I think so one reference would be enough, and that is causal verbs. So when one situation or events affects the condition for some other, then it is called causality. For example, I would just refer to the 2 of them. David hit the ball so hard. This is the cause, and what happened? It flew over the bridge. Enablement. Black cat was laying quietly in the sun when Shiza crept over and pulled her tail. How she was enabled to do that? Because black cat was laying quietly in the sun. This enabled Shiza in order to crept over and pulled her tail. Now referring to time, how the events are arranged in time, whether the events are about past, whether the events are in present, and whether the events are in future. I think so we have talked about 2 basic things of how can we achieve coherence in the text. After that, there are certain other things like we could use transition words in order to have what is a transition word? A transition or linking word is a word or phrase that shows the relationship between paragraphs as sections of a text or speech. It provides greater coherence by signaling how ideas relate to one another. And now there are certain transition words. Let me give you a simple. First of all, I wake up early in the morning, then I go to morning walk. After the walk, I come back to my home and do my brush my teeth, or you could say take a bath. And after taking the bath, I do my breakfast and hurriedly prepare myself for the school. So I have used again and again certain transition word, and this is providing coherence to my text, what I am saying. Other than this, we could use repetition of words, and we can use pronouns again and again in order to achieve coherence in the text. That's all for today. Today we talked about cohesion and types of cohesion. Then we talked about coherence and some how could we achieve coherence in the text. If you have any question or query, you can type in the comment box, but for that you have to like and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.